Hey guys, hope you're doing amazing. I am just filming this video to run you through a training and a framework when it comes to a few things, and two things in particular. One of them is handling objections and also removing sales resistance when it comes to Instagram DMs and doing this like a pro. So here's a few reasons why this training is being made, because right now I'm seeing far too many coaches and clients actually ending conversations far too soon when they're in the DMs. When prospects haven't said they're not interested, the conversations are still being ended, or that they don't need help. So this is what we're trying to solve with this training right now. So because I'm seeing far too many coaches ending conversations too soon, prospects haven't specifically said, dude, I don't need help, I'm not interested, or that they don't need help, right? So the goal for this is to have very good objection handling frameworks in your DMs. The goal for this training isn't to strong arm people into buying or booking a call when they don't want it, but the goal for this framework is simply for you to be able to show your value in your DMs and give people the opportunity to give you a very, very clear yes, I am interested, or no, I'm not. What we don't want is, well, because when we do this way round, we do two things, right? You know exactly where people stand, and it saves you a lot of precious time. And even more importantly than this, the people you're speaking to also know exactly where they stand also. So they know, they know what to be doing and when, and they aren't lying to themselves, they aren't disenfranchising themselves, and they're able to know exactly where they're at. Because one of the most impactful things anyone can do is take action, either by saying this is a hell yes or this is a hell no. And this is all your job in the DMs should be, is to identify and coach people into making a decision. It's not for you to give them, this opportunity to say, yes, I really want to do this, and I want to buy, give me the money, like I'll give you all the money I have. All your job here is to remove people from saying, oh, I'm going to think about it, I'm going to do it in 3 months time, I'm going to do it in 4 months time. All your goal here is to get people to say, I want to do this, amazing, I want to book a call, I want to know how your coaching works, or I don't want to do this, now isn't the right time. But all your job is here is to literally get a hell yes or a hell no. This is the biggest thing in my opinion, because ultimately, like, people saying I need to think about it, people saying I'll do it in 3 months time, 4 months time, almost lying to themselves in a way without realizing they have all these limiting beliefs and all these beliefs in general which are not serving them. And all you want to do is just get a hell yes or a hell no. And because one of the most powerful things someone can do is to have and come to a decision, either yes or no. Or think about it, it's usually a no, but they don't know, and they're just stuck in standstill for ages. They say, I don't want to do this, they always know that they're not doing this, nothing about it, and they're content with it. That's kind of what our goal here is. And here's exactly why, in my opinion, this one single framework changes absolutely everything. And it was this one single TV show line for me, and it completely changed my perspective on absolutely everything when it comes to selling and DMs in particular. Because see, it's a very typical English culture thing in my opinion, where we don't want to force people into decision. We don't want to call people out or twist the knife to force them to make a decision. But this one TV line, just for me, changed my entire perspective on how I view sales, and made me feel very naive as to why I haven't seen this earlier. And in one of the TV shows, and out of the TV show, all the TV shows it could have been, it was one on Ted Lasso for all the things in the world, and it was this exact 4 words, simply 4 words. It was be curious and be not judgmental. Be curious, not judgmental. Be curious, not judgmental. And if there's one thing I'd love this training to leave you with, is simply this: don't try and sell your coaching. Don't try and sell everyone onto your coaching. Don't try and book everyone onto sales calls, but simply just be more curious. When someone tells you something in the DMs, use your childlike curiosity to find out more about it. There's something so truly welcoming and approachable during conversations like this, when you're simply asking questions, when you're simply having fun and wanting to find out more. That's all I deeply encourage you to do here. With every DM conversation you have, when someone tells you they're following a diet already, don't stop. Don't stop replying. Don't kill the conversation off. Don't judge them and say and think to yourself they don't need help. Think back on this and be genuinely curious. How is their diet actually going? What is going well? What might not be going well? And what might they be struggling with? This makes any conversation flow much, much smoother and improves the quality of the conversations you have in the DMs tenfold as well. With this being said, I'm going to run you through now the 5 most common objections I see in the DMs. People send me to review all the time. So these are the 5 most common objections, and why a lot of the time you can actually overcome these and cover these in the DMs and still speak to someone on the call and still actually get someone to your coaching. So here are the 5 most common. Number 1 is, I can't afford it right now. Money concerns around coaching can also come from a fear of failure rather than the actual inability to pay. And there's also people making decisions and preconceptions too early, in my opinion. People might worry that investing wouldn't get them results, the results they hope, or they resonate with trying something similar and failing to achieve results. And here's a strategy to overcome this. Firstly, it's just to be human about this, is to actually acknowledge their concern. Don't just dismiss it. Don't get defensive about why this is not true and how much good your coaching is. Don't create content saying my coaching is worth more than your Netflix subscription. This is just going to get people on their, this is just going to get people defensive, and it's just not going to move things forward. What you want to do is just be human, acknowledge their concern, acknowledge the emotions, acknowledge everything that they've just told you, acknowledge it, breathe, relax, kind of have a conversation about it, and acknowledge their pain and their emotion here. Once you've done this in the conversation, the next part of this would be to actually highlight the value and the transformation rather than just simply focusing on the cost. Link the investment to an outcome that aligns with their goals and pain points. And here is why it's so important to actually ask questions beforehand and actually understand exactly what people want to achieve and where they want to go. Because if you can understand this beforehand, it's actually tenfold easier to link this to their goals and also their pain points. If someone knows that they will pay X amount of money, but there's a very, very, very high likelihood chance they'll achieve their dream outcome in 6 months or 3 months time, or they'll overcome the biggest pain point they have in terms of fitness, health, energy, nutrition, relationships, whatever it might be, then they're so much more likely to actually invest and actually have results as well. So if you know this ahead of time, it's actually a lot easier to actually storytell a little bit by talking about how a similar client have achieved the goal you have, for example, that they have to move forward. So this is really, really powerful. And then the last thing you can also demonstrate is reducing the risk by offering insights into how previous clients have succeeded, making the value of the investment feel kind of almost guaranteed in terms of them achieving the result. If you know someone one of your clients had a very similar goal or a pain point and they've overcome it using your coaching in this time frame, you can literally just storytell with a voice note, you can storytell with a message, and it's so powerful then. And then people kind of resonate with that story, like, okay, this feels so tangible and so achievable, this is amazing, I want to find out more. And here's an example response of how you can overcome this in the DMs if people say, I can't afford it right now. I totally understand where you're coming from. Name, investing in yourself is a big step and can feel like a big step, especially when you have, family, work, whatever it might be. Many of my clients felt this way initially as well, but they found that investing in the program actually saved them a lot of time and energy from overcoming these common setbacks, and you can insert the specific ones that they're feeling right now as well. Let me run you through how one of my clients, insert their name, has achieved this while also feeling this, or while also having this outcome. You can then storytell a little bit with a voice note. and then just open a conversation. Would you be open to having a chat over a Zoom call or WhatsApp call about how you can potentially achieve similar results? Adjusting this framework, a message like this is so powerful to, remove the friction around this objection. Money is a very emotional thing, even more so in the UK. Carries a lot of emotion. It carries a lot of hidden kind of stories we tell ourselves about money. So actually talking about this and acknowledging it and using this framework can kind of remove so much emotion, so much kind of pent up kind of frustration in a way around it, and it can make it so much easier to solve. So this is really powerful when it comes to this objection. The second one we have is I need to think about it. People will often tell you this and they'll be like, I'm going to do it in 3 months, so I need to think about it a little bit more. Here's the reality of this. People often request time to think due to a fear of making a mistake, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons people will tell you they need to think about it, because they don't want to make a mistake. They have a fear of making a mistake, and they might be processing the potential lifestyle change or adjusting to the idea of committing to something new. And here's exactly the strategy I'd use to overcome this. And again, very similar, right? The first thing is to actually acknowledge and compliment their need to make a decision. There's nothing wrong with people wanting to make a decision and wanting to make the right decision. If anything, it shows it's probably a good kind of client you want to work with. If someone wants to make the right decision and they don't want to make a mistake, it shows to me a great personality trait. People that are very analytical and want to make the right decision and want to make a long-term change. This is a very good character trait, and also just pointing it out to people is good here. It kind of, if you compliment them on this character trait, it kind of almost removes a lot of barriers right away, right? They're going to be like, this guy's just complimented me or acknowledged that I am actually really trying hard and I want to make the right decision. It removes a lot of barriers and they open up a lot more. This is the first thing I'd say. The second thing is to create supportive urgency by diagnosing and understanding what specifically they need to think about. And here's the reality of why I absolutely love this point. All the information they will ever have about your specific coaching program is by having you directly. If they go away and they think about it, they're just going to have false information and they're not going to have the full information. You're the only source that can give them the full information about your coaching program. So actually leveraging that and just communicating that would be massive. Like almost just diagnosing. You don't need people to sign up there and then. You don't need everyone to sign up. You want the right people. So you're the only person that can give them the full information, so they can ask as many questions as they need until they have the full kind of idea of how exactly your coaching program works. This would be a very good thing to communicate here and make it very easy for people to open up. And again, as a follow-up on this, as well as to encourage specific either or style questions, can work really well in this example. That can address the hidden concerns that people may have as well. So and here's an example of this. People can sometimes close up when they feel like you're trying to sell them or you're trying to get them to make a decision on something. So rather than trying to say, what do you need to think about, it can come across quite aggressive, right? So an easier alternative is just to say, okay, is it this or is it that you need to think about? Are you not sure? Is it the nutrition aspect of my program you don't know about too much about? Or is it the training aspect you don't know about? Is it the accountability you think you might struggle with most, or is it the training? Are you looking to do a different are you looking to do this program or that program instead? That way round, people then don't have to think about, do I want to do this? Is that a yes or a no? Is that a definitive? But rather, they just need to pick one or the other, and you can kind of open up the conversation even more from there on as well. Here's an example response. And with these example responses, one thing I'd highly recommend is almost just using a voice note on your phone. Just sending a voice note can really work so well for this, because they can get your personality across, they can get your tone of voice and your mannerism across. They can come across a lot less kind of intrusive and direct as well, and it's much less likely that I'll get misunderstood, right? And here's an example of how you can say this. I completely understand where you're coming from, John. Important decisions should absolutely be made thoughtfully, and actually what I find is some of my best clients are similar to yourself. They're very analytical, they want to make the right decision. It's super important, right? But just so I can understand where your head's at the moment, what specifically do you feel you need to think about? Is it the training aspect of my program, or is it the nutrition? Is it sticking to this, or is it sticking to that you think would be a struggle? And again, just use a bit of context when you come up with this question. Use a bit of context as to what they've mentioned in the conversation already. Pick up on that and try and mold the conversation around that. That could be so powerful there as well. That's the second most common objection that we see in the DMs at the moment. The third one is, I don't think I'll be able to commit fully right now. And here's why this happens. This often comes from self-doubt or fear of failure. This person might worry that they don't have enough time, energy, or discipline to succeed with your program. So it's not more features you need to talk about here. They don't need more features. They need to know that they can actually fully commit to using this program to get results. And here's how you can do that. The first thing is this. Again, hopefully you can see the common trend here is just to acknowledge their concern about the commitment and lifestyle. Acknowledge that, it's good that they are concerned about this, because maybe they've tried other programs in the past, and actually it's a good character trait of people to want to make sure it's something that they can do long term, rather than just trying 100 different things and never sticking to it. Acknowledge that in the conversation and kind of talk about it. The second thing is just help understand what they feel is realistic for them to do right now. Realistically, for a lot of the coaching programs around, a few hours a week are probably more than enough to overhaul and start making progress in the training, with the nutrition, with their mindset, whatever the end goal is. And just ask questions to reaffirm this. If they're spending 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day on screen time on their phone, if they just change half of this time to actually meal prepping, or to go into the gym, or doing a quick 30-minute workout, they'll probably move forward and they'll probably make good progress. So just asking smart, educated questions on this can really help here. And here's an example voice note style message you can send when it comes to covering this. I totally get where you're coming from, Name. It's common to worry about fitting everything into your schedule. And that's exactly why I customize my coaching approach to make sure it's flexible and manageable by doing, and here insert specific examples. If they've already told you in a conversation that they struggle to fit in their training, their nutrition, because of work or whatever, here's how I will do things differently to make sure you fit this and this into your program. For example, if we did that for you, do you feel you'd be able to make that work for you to some extent, or is there absolutely no chance at all? The reason this question is really good is it's over exaggerating the negative. You're saying there's absolutely no chance at all you can just spend 30 minutes more on your training and nutrition a day, really? Like, it's really over exaggerating the negative, and it's like making it very hard for people to say no. They're going to feel lazy but say no to this. And then you just make this sound very kind of doable. If they just spend 15, 30, 40 minutes extra a week, or a day rather, they're probably going to make forward progress. You just want to make the positive kind of small steps sound very small, and then the negative, which is very unlikely, make it as unlikely as possible, and it'll make it a lot easier for people to open up there as well. That's the third biggest objection, which is I don't think I'll be able to commit fully right now. The fourth is I've tried a similar program before and it didn't work. And we often see this when people say, I'm working with a personal trainer, I'm working with like Chrissy Cello or Matt Does Fitness, some kind of influencer. And a lot of the time the program's completely different. A personal trainer in the gym's just there to count their sets or count their reps. Chrissy Cello or whoever influencer's program they're following isn't the same program at all. So sometimes they just have completely kind of different conceptions of what a program is, right? So here is actually a couple things. And firstly, right, the objection is rooted in a fear of repeated failure. So they may have invested time or money in a previous program that just didn't deliver results, making them feel skeptical of trying again. That's understandable, but a lot of the time your idea here is to just stretch the gap between like what they've tried and show them why it's completely different to what you're doing. If they're working with a personal trainer, yeah, of course it's not going to work. A personal trainer is just there for you for 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week in the gym. What I do, I look at everything with your nutrition, training, lifestyle, mindset, so you can get results. Completely different thing. If they've followed someone else's program, yeah, of course it's not going to work. You followed like some copy and paste program from an influencer. Like the way we do it is I want this and this data, and then I understand why it works for you. Completely different, right? So that's what you're trying to get them to see here. Here's how you do this. First, you just want to acknowledge their experience and just show empathy for their frustration. The fact that they're trying stuff in the past is a good mindset trait. It's just acknowledging that and just giving them credit for trying. If you have people that try and keep trying and keep trying, eventually they'll succeed, and they're probably going to be quite good clients, right? So acknowledge this and just understand it's actually a quite good character trait. As long as they're not just trying the same thing that's never worked and they just give up, it's probably a good character trait. The next thing, as I touched on, is you want to differentiate your approach by explaining what sets your program apart from what they've done it before, right? An easy way you can do this is just stretch the gap, just ask more questions, be curious. What specifically did you try in the past? I tried a personal trainer program, I tried this coaching program. Even if they've tried an online coaching program in the past, they probably wasn't very good, or they probably maybe weren't in a right headspace for it, whatever it might be, and it's your job here to differentiate that. And then give a story. Once you have this information here, share a story of a client who achieved similar results despite having, despite kind of going through the same setbacks. Here's an example of this. I hear you, name. It's incredibly frustrating to work super hard, invest, and not see any results. If I'm honest with you, many of my clients come to me feeling a similar way. Here's why my program is different in the sense that, and again, mold the program. Talk about the things that they've struggled with in the past and how your program is completely different to that and how it helps overcome these struggles. And I will make it a priority to ensure you achieve these results, achieve real results, measurable progress. If you have a guarantee on your program, here would be a good place to mention it. And then offer a call. I'll be able to walk you through in a little bit more detail over a call how you can do this and this. What time suits you better? Tomorrow at 2 p.m. or today at 12, for example. Again, either or questions work really well here because it gives people the frame of mind to pick from 2 times rather than thinking a yes or a no. Yes or a no, you have a 50% chance that they'll say yes, I want to do a call. You give them a time. Can you do this or this time? It's 100%. They're likely going to pick one or the other. So that's the 4 biggest objections. And the very last one is one super common as well, is I need to talk to my partner first as well. Here's how and what I see with this. For some, major decisions can feel incomplete without getting the approval and input of their partner. And this is especially true when the investment is both people's time and finances. If they are like a shared kind of holder, like household holder, and they have like shared responsibility money wise, this can come up even more. If they're married, they're in a relationship, for example, can come up even more. What you want to do here is this. Again, acknowledge, show empathy, compliment the fact that they need to discuss with a partner. You don't want to come across like you're pressuring them to make a decision independently, because this will just get people to close off even more. What you want to do instead is this. Ask more coaching style questions. Would their partner be supportive if it meant that they would be losing my voice? Ask more coaching style questions here. Would their partner be supportive if it means that they will be happier, healthier, fitter in achieving this goal? Would their partner be happier? Again, do you see how this question here is very black and white? Of course, everyone wants of course their partner would be happier if they were happier, healthier, fitter, whatever it might be. Of course they would. It's very black and white. It gives you most people will say yes to this. Another great question here is asking if their partner genuinely knows how they currently feel. A lot of the time they don't. A lot of the time their partner just doesn't know how unhappy they feel, the pain points, the struggles they feel when they're going through right now. If their partner knew about it, if they're any good of a partner, 99% of the time they'd say, yeah, of course I want you to go through this. Of course I want you to work on this goal. So these kind of questions work really well here, just to give people a clarity and a sense of direction in terms of where they can go. And here's an example question on this as well. Absolutely, it's great to have the support of your loved ones. And many of my clients have found that you get even better results when they're also working hard for someone else as well. Out of curiosity, if this program was free, would your partner be against joining? And again, no one's going to say no. It's a very black and white option here. They say no. Of course they wouldn't mind. Okay, why don't we jump on a call? Why don't you get your partner on a call? Why don't we just have a conversation over Zoom? You can kind of talk them through the struggles you currently have. We can kind of go through everything on a call, and at the end you can make an educated decision as a team. How does that sound to you? And you book them into a call. Again, a lot of these work really, really well as voice notes, especially at the start when it's quite hard to get engaged with emojis and stuff like that, for how to get tone of voice across. Just sending one of these as a voice note and just adapting it using this framework and strategy and based on the person can work really, really well as well. These are the 5 biggest objections at the moment, and here's some additional tips as well to keep in mind for handling any objections in your messages as well. The first thing is to stay calm and collected. If you get too emotional and too erratic, objection can feel personal. So just remember to slow down, to breathe, and realize they're not kind of like talking bad about your coaching program. They're simply sharing their objections and where they feel at the moment and their concerns. Your goal here is to almost be a bit of a chess master, right? Is to objection handle these and just maneuver them around. One of the most powerful things here to look at. The second thing is just to look at active listening or active reading in this sense. Just show genuine interest and curiosity in people's life, people's goals, concerns, before jumping to solutions. People don't want solutions to problems they don't have. So find out the solution, find out the problems, the goals, and then offer solutions and get them to elaborate more by jumping on a call. And then the last thing is to personalize your responses. These responses here are all good, but remember to personalize them. Tailor each response based on a specific concern and hesitation of the prospect. Make the conversation feel like it's just for them. Make it one-to-one. Don't copy and paste messages, and you'd go very, very far with this. Use this framework, save the timestamps and come back to this when you need it, and use this as your master document to objection handle DMs and resistance in the DMs like a jiu-jitsu master, and move people forward and get more clear decisions and stop leaving conversations to just hang just random, right? I think this will be very, very powerful for training and a framework to run. Any questions on this, let me know, and any conversations that need to be reviewed, anything like that, as always, you can just send them across and we can kind of go back and forth as well. Speak soon.